When the Toronto Raptors successfully traded away OG Anunoby en route to bettering their team while also drastically improving the future outlook of their squad, we all sort of collectively started to wonder, what in the world does this mean for Pascal Siakam? And now, we finally have an answer. But this whole situation is a lot more complex than you think, so you know that we have to break it down. But before we do that, no matter what you're buying this season, when you use the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can build your credit scores with on-time payments through everyday purchases, meaning that you can literally build your credit for just doing what you have to. You see, Chime reports your payments to the major credit bureaus to help you build your credit over time, bringing you closer to that score that you've always wanted. Guys, speaking from experience, it's a great feeling being able to build credit using your own money. I have to give Chime a big shout out for coming through with this one. Right now, you're probably thinking that Chime is too good to be true, but it isn't. With Chime, there are no annual fees, credit checks, or interest required to apply. And get this, you can also use the card anywhere that Visa credit cards are accepted. With Chime, the benefits really do just keep on coming. Head on over to chime.com/coop to get started and see everything that Chime has to offer. That's chime.com/coop. Mandatory disclosure. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank and name members FDIC. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply. Call 1-844-244-6363 for details. Late payment may negatively impact your credit score. Results may vary. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Guys, definitely show Chime some love for coming through and sponsoring today's content. Siakam, who is on an expiring contract this season, has done so much for this Raptors team over the years, even helping them win their first championship alongside Kawhi Leonard in 2019. Although Kawhi would abandon the Raptors, opting for what he felt was greener pastures in Los Angeles, thinking that the Raptors didn't have what it took to repeat and win another title, the NBA's most improved player would remain committed to the cause in Toronto, just continuing to work in an effort to improve season after season. Since winning that NBA title in 2019, Siakam would make the All-Star game twice, actually starting in it in 2020, and he would also make the All-NBA team twice, also actually making the second team in 2020, which, fair warning, Siakam making these All-NBA teams would be huge for him, and you'll find out exactly why in just a second. You would think that all of Siakam's hard work, loyalty, and continued improvement would at least get him some respect when it came to even just potentially remaining in Toronto. But it didn't. Reportedly, the Toronto Raptors cut off almost all communication with Pascal Siakam last summer. This would lead to the 7-year vet wondering if he were being punished for something. This would also lead to him feeling bewildered and heartbroken, which I completely understand. Siakam did everything right for the Raptors, exceeding all expectations, and the team that he grew with couldn't even be straight up with him. That is tough. This whole situation stinks of irony, because even if you had planned to eventually trade Pascal Siakam, I'm not sure how extending him this past offseason would have hurt your team. If anything, it would have made this man much more valuable than he already was, because any team interested in him wouldn't have to have been worried about this man leaving this upcoming offseason. Maybe Masai thought that Siakam trying to make an All-NBA team this season for that Supermax would raise his trade value. Or maybe he thought that he was for sure getting a trade done this past offseason no matter what. Well, regardless of whatever thought process was used for this situation, it would end up being a great detriment to his market. At one point, the Sacramento Kings straight up withdrew their interest in Pascal Siakam because they had no idea what he was going to do this offseason after they traded for him, which is no surprise at all. When you are a GM and you are thinking about investing the amount of assets into a player that could get you fired if a trade goes wrong, at the very least, what you want is some sort of commitment from that player that you were trading for. That is, unless you're Ujiri, who pulled off the best short-term rental in the history of basketball. Look, don't be mad at me. We just have to give this guy his props when they're due. When you play the game, sometimes you get the best of the game and sometimes the game gets the best of you. If you ask me, trading is all about risk management. Is that potential risk worth the potential reward? If it is, then you do it, and that's what the Pacers did, but there is a nasty catch. So check it out. Pascal Siakam saying that he was testing free agency no matter what scared off a lot of teams from offering anything substantial, but it didn't scare off the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers were young, hungry, and ready to make a splash, and they did. The Pacers would receive Pascal Siakam and a future second-round pick, while the Raptors would receive Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, 2 2024 first-round picks, and a 2026 first-round pick. So one of the 2024 firsts being traded to Toronto would be one of their own, and the other will be the worst of the Jazz, Rockets, Clippers, or Thunder's pick. And that 2026 pick that's going to Toronto will also be the Pacers' own pick. Guys, those firsts are terrible. Unless Siakam is a double agent and somehow internally destroys the team as the season progresses, I can't see those picks being very good for the Toronto Raptors. My initial thought upon seeing this trade was that this is nothing for a player of Siakam's caliber, and that thought was amplified when I heard that Pascal Siakam is excited about this move to the Pacers and also hopes to work out a new contract with the team in the summer. To make this entire thing more comical, Woj would say that Siakam's preferred destination all along was Indiana, and that he was in constant communication with Tyrese Halliburton this whole time. According to Woj, if Siakam didn't land in Indiana ahead of the trade deadline, there was this giant chance that he would have just bolted for Indiana when free agency started this offseason. This speaks volumes to how far that the Pacers have come, and it also speaks volumes about how impactful a player like Tyrese Halliburton is. The Siakam camp loved this move so much that even his agent was gushing over the move, saying that, "I'm excited that Pascal is getting a first-class opportunity with the Pacers. Being paired with Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner and being coached by a great coach in Rick Carlisle, his future looks bright." All of this goes against all of those earlier rumors that said that Pascal Siakam was ready to test the free agency market no matter what. Now it's clear that all of these leaks about Siakam saying he wouldn't re-sign anywhere were just leverage plays, and Siakam's way of sticking it to the Raptors. Siakam doing what he did resulted in the Toronto Raptors not even getting any of the Pacers' young talent back, and to me, that's kind of bonkers. You mean to tell me that you didn't have to throw in Ben Mathurin, Jarris Walker, or Andrew Nembhard, and you were able to walk away with the Pascal Siakam who was ready to commit to your team long term? That right there is amazing. These guys didn't even have to give up guys like Jalen Smith or Obi Toppin, who has been having a historical highlight reel season. Guys, this team has an abundance of talent. Indiana fans should be in for an incredibly fun ride. The Pacers already had the NBA's #1 rated offense, and now they add Pascal Siakam, who is a terror downhill in both the open floor and half court, to their flourishing up-tempo system. I can already see Tyrese Halliburton, who has been leading the league in assists per game at 12.5, throwing this man some silly dimes as Siakam wonders, how in the world did I get this open? By the way, Siakam can also be an impact player on defense, playing next to the rim protecting Miles Turner, having the ability to guard multiple positions. So let's hope that he just decides to play defense in Indy, because they could definitely use help on that side of the basketball, with their defense ranking the 4th worst in the entire NBA. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about Pascal's timeline not matching up with Halliburton's, and I think that all of that is overblown. Siakam is only 29, he's not some fossil. He's the perfect guy to help mentor and advance some of your younger players while helping to put them in meaningful situations. When Siakam finally does start to decline, the timing will be perfect, as he should be ready to pass the torch to the next generation of Pacer players. As for the Raptors, they made this bed for themselves, but absent of context, it's hard to be mad about getting 3 firsts for an expiring contract. Though the Pacers haven't drafted well over the years, this guy Ujiri, who is getting those firsts from Indiana, has an eye for talent. This was another one of those moves that made sense for both sides, even if I do love one side more than the other, with that side clearly being the Pacers. Personally, I like the OG Anunoby trade better than this one for Toronto, but again, it's hard to be mad at this one, especially if you're now able to tank and recoup that top 6 protected pick this year that you traded for Jakob Poeltl, which just has to be the plan. Remember, the Spurs made it ugly once they traded DeJounte Murray, and they got Wemby out of that. The Raptors could do this same thing and get Alex Sarr, who is a do-it-all 7-1 problem. So don't mind me, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and add Jontay Porter in fantasy because I'm anticipating things getting very ugly in Toronto. Raptors fans, let me know who you think the pickup is going to be if things do get ugly in Toronto. I need to find me another Skylar Mays. Now, the Raptors' return for both OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam is on the screen. Let me know what you guys think of this return, which, mind you, that as good as these players are, they still were on expiring contracts. Also, let me know what you think about the Pacers now. Are they a contender? Personally, I could see this team making some serious noise in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you look at it and they've been right in the thick of things and they didn't get any worse by any measure. But again, that's just how I feel. Let me know how you feel down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.